All right, folks, we're back with the Malzberg panel. You loved it so much the first time. We bring it right back with Kevin Jackson and Bridget Todd. And let's talk about the Middle East and Israel and Hamas. And once again, the FAA has lifted its ban on flights to Israel from the United States. Let me ask you, Bridget, why in the world would, as we had the head of Israeli, former head of El Al Security on earlier, and why, with all these weeks of rockets being fired and all the wars that have come before it and everything that's been going on, did the FAA all of a sudden decide to put a ban on, and then 2 days later, with the circumstances still very much the same, they decided to lift the ban? Was it political?
You know, I agree completely with your earlier guest. You know, I don't want to speculate on why they did this. I'm assuming they have their reasons. But I think we can all agree that what's going on there is truly a humanitarian crisis that really needs some addressing.
Well, how would you address it?
You know, again, I mean, I don't want to speculate. I don't know that it's a situation that has any kind of easy answer or easy solution. If it did, I'm sure this would be something that people would be advocating for. But I just know that when you've got a situation where folks are losing their lives and people are afraid, and there's children are dying, I think something really needs to be done. And what that is, I think, kind of remains to be seen.
Well, I know what it is, Kevin. It's eradicate Hamas. They're the ones committing war crimes. They're the ones responsible for the death and injury of their own children and their own civilians. They do it on purpose, and that's who they are.
Absolutely. And look, it's funny that the old sort of the safety net for liberalism is if women and children and people are dying everywhere. People die in Chicago every single weekend. You don't have to go to Hamas or Israel for it, and liberals have an answer for it. Look, it's very simple. Leave the Israeli people alone. They don't want to fight. They don't want to go over and cause war. But the Hamas people, the folks that are involved with terrorism, including Hamas, are not going to do that. And it doesn't matter what Israel does, they're going to be attacked by Hamas. Look at the tunnels that are being dug. Just look at everything that's going on right now and tell me that these people are really interested in peace in the Middle East.
I mean, I think that you've got, in terms of peace talks, there's talk of ceasefire, there's talk of this 5-day ceasefire. I think that, it's good to be optimistic and think, maybe something can really come of this. And I think the idea that there's no talk of, that they're just rejecting, ceasefire is just not accurate.
Well, Israel's given.
Hamas has rejected several ceasefires already, and when they had their last humanitarian ceasefire for 5 hours, Hamas violated that one too. I mean, that's not up for debate. That's fact. And
Correct.
Israel would be foolish, and Israel would be out of their minds to have a 5-day ceasefire to allow Hamas to regroup and recoup from the battle that's being waged. What's Israel going to sit around on the tops of their tanks and wait for them to aim their rockets at them? I mean, that's nuts.
One of the things they want is for them to allow them to ship products and people in without being checked. And they say, if you do that, then, we'll give a little bit here. And Israel's saying, no, the reason we're having to implement these policies is because you guys come over here and you wreak havoc on our community. Look, this is one of these silly discussions. Israel is not starting these wars, and the world community in many cases wants to jump on them after the fact. It's the second guy that throws the punch is the one that gets blamed. But the fact is, Israel's right on this, and they've been right all along.
Final word on this, Bridget?
As I said before, as I said before, I think that I'm not one to speculate on sort of the reasons why the FAA acted the way they did. I think it's truly a humanitarian crisis, and I truly just hope we can come to some sort of solution very soon.
Okay. All right, guys, appreciate both of you. Kevin Jackson and Bridget Todd, thank you for being with us. We'll do it again real soon. Very interesting conversation, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a lot more ahead on the Middle East and a lot more. So keep it tuned right where you are. And we'll be back with Republican political consultant Mary Madeline and more of the show. But first, this hour's American Moment takes a look at the opening of the Panama Canal.
It took 34 years to build, but on August 15th, 1914, the Panama Canal was officially opened for business and was quickly crowned one of the 7 wonders of the modern world. The 51-mile long and 10-mile wide canal was originally begun by the French, but abandoned after 9 years and the loss of over 20,000 of their workers from disease-infected jungles. President Theodore Roosevelt believed the completion of the canal was essential to American security and prosperity, so he negotiated with the French to purchase the canal's properties and dredging equipment. But when negotiations with Colombia over a canal treaty broke down, Roosevelt backed a local bloodless revolution that lasted only a few hours. And on November 3, 1903, the nation of Panama was born. With the opening of the Panama Canal, the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans were joined, reducing a ship's journey from New York to San Francisco by 9,000 miles. Roosevelt's vision made the canal a reality, and the feat helped make America a world power. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.